So when you are using JavaScript, it's got a lot of these built-in functions. So I'm going to set up a new one, alpha, and I'm just going to do ABC. Actually, we're not going to do it in any particular order. And then we're going to build up a function that's actually going to sort all of these in an alphabetical order. So the first thing is that we need to break apart the string, because in this way we're not able to sort anything. If you remember from one of the first lessons, I'm just going to get rid of this output here, and I'm going to bring that over to alpha. If you remember from one of their first lessons is that we're actually able to call to different values that are available in the string just by entering their numeric value. So there's something else that we can actually do with the string itself. So we can actually do what's called a split of the string, and we can split it by a certain value. So we're going to do a split, and so we're splitting it by comma values, and this is just the default split of it. So you see there, once I enter that in, then we do split it via comma. And the way that this works is that it's actually taking, because we're not having any particular space, if I'm just looking at this to see if there's any repeating. So if I was actually splitting it by A, we could see that the split is much different, that it takes the first set of characters till A splits it, and if you're looking at this, this does look a little bit like an array. So now once this actually gets split, we can work with it as we would within an array. So I'm just gonna simply create a new value, and maybe we can even go as far as creating a function to do this. So we're going to do function, and call it split string, and then this is going to do all the calculations that we want for our string. We're just going to leave it at A for now, and it's going to return back the split value. So it's going to do a return, and it's going to take A, and it's just going to split all the characters in A. So this way, when we do split string, when we call that particular function, so we've got this function into that other function, so multiple functions, and we're going to pass over this value. So we're essentially getting the same thing, but we've pushed it over into a function, and this gives us the ability to start to work with this value. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up maybe a value E, and I'm just going to assign it this split value, and I'm going to return E as well. So we're again back to the same thing. But now what I can do is I can actually sort it. So if I do a sort, we'll see what happens there. And we see that because this is an array now, it's all split up. It's split up all of these values. We can actually do a sorting of the values in alphabetical order. So now it's starting to look a little bit better. We're able to see A. If we had a B in there, a C in there, we already have a D. Maybe I get rid of one of those A's, change it to an E, change another one to an F, and we can start seeing how this alphabet is really starting to come out here. I'll change one of these J's to an M, and so on. So now, if we want to bring this all back in, we can actually join it back into a string. So if we did something like this, this is going to join all of these values back into one string. And the thing is, we can actually join a bunch of these together, so we don't necessarily need to keep it all separate. There, it's giving me that function. And I think that what we have to do is we have to set up another variable there, because I think it's and do f, and then this way we're going to do the 2 quotes there. So that's what we needed to do. We needed to actually have a separate variable that we were setting up, because the join was actually losing the value that was being passed to it. So in this way, we're actually able to define that value by linking them together. And we could actually take this another step further, and we can completely eliminate f. So again, always thinking about the best way to really condense the code that we're working with and bringing all of these functions together in one listing is going to automatically sort whatever value we're sending over to this split string function, and it's going to sort all of the letters and characters. So even if we did something like full name, we can see that now it scrambles the name and creates that effect. We can also do it with first name and so on. We can also do it again with that concatenating. So if we had multiple values, variables that we're trying to pass here, and add in alpha as well, and you can see how it's automatically sorting. So what it's doing, it's splitting it into an array, it's sorting that array, and then it's joining it back together into one string. And this is a really good example of what you can do with functions and output, and working with all these different variables.